What if the most dominant champion in WWE crashed headfirst into a ghost from a Hollywood action dynasty? For over a year, Rhea Ripley was the undisputed monster of the women's division, a brutal pillar of the Judgment Day who crushed every challenger. Her reign as Women's World Champion was a tyrannical tour de force. While that incredible reign was actually ended by Naomi in a thrilling triple threat match at SummerSlam 2025, today we're diving into the world of what if. We're going to fantasy book a scenario that's even more shocking, a debut so unexpected it would have changed the entire landscape of WWE. This is the story that never happened, but maybe should have. This is the story of how Ripley's reign could have met a sudden, chilling, and tactical annihilation at the hands of an unknown variable with a legendary and dangerous name, Arissa LeBrock. Picture this: a hot August night on Monday Night Raw. Rhea Ripley, champion destroyer and mommy to the masses, has just laid out another victim. With her Judgment Day crew smirking at ringside, she grabs a mic, dripping with arrogance. "This is my division," she snarls. "Mommy will always be on top. There is no one left." It feels like a fact, not a challenge. But then, a deep, unsettling bass note hits the arena. It's not a theme song anyone recognizes. The Titantron is black. Ripley's smirk twitches, her confidence just barely cracking into confusion. Then a single name appears in stark white letters: LeBrock. The crowd buzzes with confusion. Who? The figure that emerges from the tunnel isn't a powerhouse. She moves with a liquid grace, her eyes locked on Ripley with an unnerving calm. Dressed in simple black gear, she steps through the ropes, and for the first time, the world gets a good look at her. It's Arissa LeBrock. Face to face with the most intimidating woman in WWE, the daughter of action star Steven Seagal and supermodel Kelly LeBrock doesn't look scared. She looks like she's about to start a very precise, very painful operation. To understand the takedown we're about to imagine, you have to get where Arissa LeBrock comes from. She was born at the bizarre crossroads of Hollywood glamour and hardcore martial arts. Her mother, Kelly LeBrock, was an icon of 80s beauty. Her father, Steven Seagal, wasn't just an actor. He was a legitimate 7th Dan black belt in Aikido, a martial arts master who brought a terrifying authenticity to the screen. While other kids were on swings, Arissa was in the dojo, watching her father dismantle grown men with an eerie efficiency. She learned that real power wasn't about yelling, it was about control. It was a lesson in violence taught by one of its most controversial masters. For a time, she built her own identity, becoming a successful plus-size model and even starring in the reality show Growing Up Supermodel. But that fire for combat never died. She poured it into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, training hard and winning medals not on a film set but on the unforgiving mats of competition. This created a dangerous cocktail: her mother's camera-ready presence and her father's legitimate combat skill. A combination just waiting to be unleashed on the world of WWE. In our fantasy timeline, her path to the ring wasn't a red carpet. It was a journey through failure and darkness. Back in December 2019, Arissa LeBrock actually did get a tryout at the WWE Performance Center. With her pedigree, she seemed like a slam dunk. But it didn't happen. WWE passed on her. Soon after, a devastating injury took her out of the game completely, and the buzz faded. But in this story, the rejection and injury didn't break her. They forged her. She refused to be a footnote. Her redemption would begin far from the WWE spotlight, in a gritty Texas gym, the Rhodes Wrestling Academy. There, she would have sought out the one man who knows what it's like to live in a father's shadow and build your own legacy: Dustin Rhodes. Under his guidance, she would have started from scratch, putting in the work. Dustin, a master of wrestling psychology, would have seen the fire WWE missed, praising her work ethic as he helped her rebuild. She wasn't just recovering, she was being reforged into a weapon. What makes this hypothetical debut so stunning isn't just the surprise, it's the style. It would be something totally alien to the WWE Women's division. While she has a real background in BJJ, for this to be a true shocker, she'd integrate her father's signature art, Aikido. Aikido is the art of ghosts. It's not about meeting force with force, it's about redirecting an opponent's aggression against them. It's all joint locks, pressure points, and throws designed for maximum effect with minimal effort. In a WWE world of power bombs and super kicks, that philosophy is from another planet. Working with a master like Dustin Rhodes, Arissa would have weaponized it for the squared circle. A charging opponent isn't met with a block, but is fluently redirected into the turnbuckle. A grab isn't fought, but twisted into a painful wrist lock. Her offense would be a chilling mix of old-school psychology and legitimate technique, targeting limbs and pressure points. She wouldn't be performing moves, she'd be dissecting her opponents. To get the scale of this upset, you have to remember the monster Rhea Ripley was. Her time as Women's World Champion wasn't just a reign, it was a dictatorship. She was the muscle and the true leader of the Judgment Day. Her list of victims is a who's who of the division. Her dominance went beyond her own matches. She infamously body-slammed the 300-pound Luke Gallows, a moment that blew the roof off the place. She was a punk rock Amazon who walked, talked, and fought like she was unbeatable, because for the longest time, she was. She was the final boss of the women's division, and in our story, that was the mountain Arissa LeBrock decided to climb on her very first night. The bell rings. The air is thick with tension. Rhea smirks, flanked by the Judgment Day. This is just an interruption. On the other side, Arissa is a blank slate. Ripley charges, looking to end it fast. But instead of a collision, Arissa sidesteps, grabs Ripley's wrist, and uses the champ's own momentum to send her stumbling into the corner. The crowd gasps. Ripley looks more stunned than hurt. This becomes the pattern. Every time Ripley uses her power, Arissa neutralizes it. A suplex attempt is turned into a finger lock that makes the champion wince. A spear is met with a swift takedown and a ground assault aimed at pressure points on the neck and shoulder. The Judgment Day's smug looks curdle into concern. This isn't a wrestling match, it's a dismantling. Finally, Ripley lands a desperate headbutt. She hoists Arissa up for the riptide. This is it, the finale. The crowd is on its feet. But as Ripley holds her, Arissa doesn't panic. In a blink and you'll miss it motion, she wraps her arm around Ripley's head. As she's slammed down, Arissa twists her body, lands on her feet, and drives her elbow into a pressure point below the champion's collarbone. Ripley's body goes limp. Her eyes glaze over. Arissa drops to the mat, sinking in a brutal triangle choke combined with a wrist lock. There's no struggle. No fight to the ropes. Rhea Ripley, the unstoppable champion, taps out in seconds. The bell rings, and the arena is dead silent. The silence that follows is deafening. The Judgment Day is frozen at ringside, watching in horror as their unbeatable mommy lies defeated. Arissa is handed the Women's World Championship. She doesn't hoist it, cry, or smile. She just holds it, her cold eyes fixed on Ripley. The message is clear. This wasn't about glory, it was about assassination. As she walks up the ramp, rumors would fly. Was her father, Steven Seagal, backstage orchestrating this whole thing from the shadows? Was this a hostile takeover? Back in the ring, reality sets in. Rhea Ripley's aura of invincibility is shattered. The Judgment Day shields their fallen leader, their swagger gone. The nightmare is over, but a far more terrifying reality has just begun. So, what do you think of our fantasy booking? Was this the greatest what-if debut in WWE history? And more importantly, in this fictional timeline, who could possibly have stopped this version of Arissa LeBrock? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the moments that could have been. The fictional debut of Arissa LeBrock represents a true paradigm shift. It's more than a title change. It's the introduction of a new philosophy of combat. Pure, undiluted, tactical lethality. In this story, she took the lessons of her father, the pain of her past failures, and the wisdom of a wrestling legend to forge herself into an unstoppable force. The question is no longer, who can beat Rhea Ripley, but who could survive Arissa LeBrock? An era of silence, precision, and fear would have begun, leaving the entire wrestling world holding its breath.